The scream that ripped out of me wasn't for MIT, was for him. My service dog yelped, his eyes squeezed shut, fur soaked, after Karen unleashed a stream of pepper spray straight into his face. She stood there, can still in hand, smirking like she'd just won a battle. What she didn't know what she couldn't possibly understand in her arrogance was that she had just committed a federal crime. Service animals aren't pets, they're protected under law. And hurting mine, that wasn't just cruelty. That was the moment Karen's entire world collapsed. It started earlier that day when I took my dog out for a walk through the neighborhood. He wore his vest, bold letters across the side. Service dog, do not distract. He wasn't sniffing yards. He wasn't barking. He wasn't causing trouble. He was doing his job, guiding me, steadying me. But Karen hated rules. She didn't make herself. She marched across her driveway, arms crossed, eyes sharp with that toxic sense of power that HOAs breed. You can't walk that beast here, she snapped. HOA rules. No animals on the sidewalks. I stayed calm. I'd dealt with her before her, endless notices, her petty fines, her constant harassment. I explained, as clearly as I could, he's a service dog. Federal law overrides your HOA rules. He's allowed anywhere I am. But Karen didn't care about law. She cared about control. Her face twisted, her voice rising. I don't care what vest he's wearing, that's just a dog. And if you don't remove him, I will. I thought it was just another empty threat. But then she reached into her bag, pulled out the can of pepper spray, and before I could step between them, she unloaded it right into his face. My dog howled, stumbling, trying to bury his head against my leg, his whole body trembling from the burn. Time stopped. My vision tunneled. Every ounce of military.com, every piece of training I'd ever had, slammed into place. Because this wasn't just about me anymore. This was about justice. I dropped to my knees, shielding my dog, flushing his eyes with bottled water I carried for emergencies. His chest heaved, but he held on, loyal even through pain. Karen, meanwhile, stood there smirking, waving the can like she'd done something righteous. Maybe now you'll follow the rules, she sneered. That was her final mistake. I stood up, slow, steady, rage boiling under every word. Do you have any idea what you just did? You didn't just assault my service dog, you broke federal law, and you're about to find out what that means. Her smirk faltered, but she tried to double down. What law? It's just a mutt. HOA rules say. I cut her off, my voice sharp enough to slice through the evening air. The Americans with Disabilities Act. Federal statute. Harming a service animal is a criminal offense, punishable by jail time. And you just did it in front of witnesses. The neighbors had gathered by then, drawn by the commotion. Phones were out, cameras rolling. They saw everything: Karen spraying my service dog, Karen laughing, Karen mocking the law. She went pale as she realized the eyes weren't on me anymore. They were on her. I pulled out my phone, not to argue, not to explain, but to call the police. My words were calm, direct, the kind of tone that makes dispatchers sit up straighter. This is an emergency. A service dog has been assaulted with chemical spray. I need officers on scene immediately. Karen tried to backpedal, waving her hands, stammering. It was just a warning. I didn't know, but ignorance isn't a defense. And when the squad car pulled up minutes later, lights flashing, the officer didn't even hesitate. He took one look at my service dog, then at Karen, holding the spray, and snapped, "Turn around. Hands behind your back." Karen shrieked, flailing, trying to point at me, yelling about HOA rules. But it didn't matter. The cuffs clicked shut. The officer's voice was cold steel. "You're under arrest for assaulting a service animal. That's a federal charge." As she was dragged to the car, the neighbors cheered. Years of her tyranny, her fines, her threats, her arrogance came crashing down in one single moment of her own stupidity. The same mouth that had barked orders for years was now screaming as the door slammed shut on her. My service dog recovered, tough as steel, loyal as ever. The vet confirmed no permanent damage, and with care and rest, he bounced back. But Karen, she didn't bounce back. She faced charges that couldn't be swept under an HOA rug. The videos neighbors took spread online, going viral. Headlines popped up. Woman arrested for attacking service dog in HOA dispute. The community turned on her instantly. The HOA tried to wash their hands of her, claiming she acted alone, but no one believed them. Her reputation was ash, her freedom, gone. The day she was sentenced, I stood outside the courthouse with my dog by my side, vest strapped tight, his eyes steady on mine. Neighbors gathered, some patting him gently, others shaking their heads in disbelief at how far Karen had fallen. One whispered, she thought she was untouchable. Another said, now she's just another criminal. And me, I didn't gloat, I didn't celebrate. I just stood tall, my service dog pressed against my leg, knowing that justice had been served. Not just for me, but for every disabled person who's ever had to fight for their rights, for every service animal attacked, dismissed, or disrespected. Karen thought her HOA power made her bigger than the law. She thought pepper spray would silence me. But she forgot the one truth that ended her reign. You, don't touch a service dog. Not ever, because the law protects them like it protects me. And if you cross that line, you're not just a bad neighbor, you're a criminal. Now the sidewalks are quiet. My service dog walks proudly, vest gleaming, head high. And Karen, she's just a cautionary tale, whispered in the neighborhood she once ruled. The woman who thought she was above the law, till the law came crashing down.